Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. It's 10 o'clock. We're going to be talking today about AI first media workflows um, and some real world lessons from building agentic systems in the wild at scale. So, just real quickly, my name is Ronnie Yates. I'm an engineering GM in the telco, media, and gaming space. We come from a group called ISE, or Industry Solutions Engineering, and what we do is FDE work, forward deployed engineering. So we work directly with customers, help them become successful on our platforms. And in doing so, we collect quite a bit of experience with these customers. And one of the things that we've been focusing on in media really is how do we understand and accelerate the production pipeline. So that pipeline, just real quick, I'm sure everyone is aware of this, but I'll give you an overview. From ideation, this is story, concepts, scripts, content, intent, really the idea of what you want to build, into pre-production, where you're planning, where you're building out assets, looking at feasibility. Then you move into production and post-production. Of course, that's the filming, that's the capture, execution, and then release and make all your money back, hopefully, and more. So the media pipeline is evolving in the world of AI. So a couple examples here is, when you're ideating in the digital media space, these great tools that allow us to ideate in a distributed manner across the globe, real-time collaboration. That's what digital media phase brought us, which was excellent. Now we bring in AI-assisted media. We still have that ability to ideate globally in a distributed manner. But now we have AI augmented exploration. We can go down different paths rapidly and quickly, and we can ideate more quickly and more thoroughly with AI and agents in the mix. In the pre-production phase, the digital planning and tooling, that's where we saw with digital media, making it easier for us to plan, to lay out how we were actually going to develop, how we're going to shoot and build these films. Now we can do that in pre-production. We can actually build out the worlds. We can build out these assets in real time. That allows us to look for risks. What are things that are hard to build, things that won't look right on camera. So the media pipeline is evolving so that we can move more to the left. We're seeing a move from, hey, let's fix this in post, to let's fix that in pre-production, which is it's a really interesting space where you can start to fix that even before you start to build. And then the last one here is just in distribution in the digital space. We are able to quickly distribute in multiple platforms. So in mobile, large film, 3D. Now we can actually do that intent-aware adaptation for regions and audiences in real time. So if you think about different cultures, different ways of thinking about how you deliver, those can be adapted in real time. So we're moving that ideation and that media pipeline, saving and reducing risk. So for us, we've been focusing quite a bit on pre-production, and we believe pre-production is sort of this inflection point. It's where outcomes are decided. So the further we can move things to the left, and the further we can reduce risk. So even in the creative support, if we can tell the story more thoroughly, we can think through multiple tones, bring more realness to the characters. We can reduce that risk. Low cost iterations, of course, before you build it. If you can iterate and make it more real, you're going to reduce that cost. Feasibility, we can look at how scenes lay out, scope, constraints, realism. So all of this allows us to say, hey, if we really want to save money, if we really want to build a better story, then let's focus on pre-production and where we can bring that power. Now, just at the sort of the high level, where do we see AI agents and agentic AI really bringing that power? So one of the things in pre-production is that it's still very heavily creative driven, and we want to leave that creativity in the hands of the creators. So what we're seeing is that there's still that narrative inputs, creative reference, early concepts that come in to agents. And those agents help to ideate and then build out sort of these structured assets, things that you necessarily don't want your creative folks spending on. A well-developed and structured script, scene breakdown, things like that. AI can help automate that and bring that. Also iterate quickly on it. And of course, that moves us even further down that pre-production route. So really, that's where we see sort of that power of AI agents coming in. So if you think about implementing that, because we are engineering teams, we are a team of engineers, data scientists, TPMs, so we actually build and deliver software. So we think about how are we building and delivering this in terms of high-level architecture. We think of sort of starting at the bottom. I'll go more in detail here, but the universal data access, this is sort of your raw data that you use to build out stories and scenes. Then data intelligence, this is where you actually build an ontology around it. What is a scene? What is a script? It gives you that sort of media ontology on top of your raw data. Where our agents live in the framework and how they're governed so that they operate safely and responsibly. And then UI for AI is what we call where they're actually, your creative folks actually interact with the AI. And you want to make sure that's where they do their business today. If you ask them to adopt a whole new framework, they will not adopt it. So let's dive just a little bit into our generalized architecture, starting down here at our universal data access. Again, this is where your images, your scripts, your videos, all of this live. We see this living in Fabric, but it doesn't need to. It can also live in other places. If you have a digital asset management system or a media asset management system, they can live there as well. No need to necessarily move them into Fabric. But this is that layer where your raw data lives. If we move up one piece, this is what we call Media IQ. This is where Fabric IQ, Foundry IQ live and actually bring intelligence and ontology to your assets. So you can think of them in a way that maps directly to media and reason about those in the way that you would naturally in your space. Moving up one level, thinking about the agentic framework, this is where your intelligence and your agents actually live. Thinking about how do I orchestrate work between multiple agents, your script agent, brand consistency, scene breakdown, anchor and shoot, they all live and communicate here. That allows it to be managed by Microsoft. You can also extend out to external agents that may not live necessarily in Foundry. As well as work with MCP servers as well that may be providing tools and services to your agents. So a lot here to sort of break down, but think of this as where your agents live and operate. And of course, with Microsoft and our platform, you want to make sure that your agents are operating in a responsible manner, so you can observe what they're doing. They do it securely. They're governed and controlled by your enterprise, and of course, operating responsibly across their domain. And finally, UI for AI is what we think. How do we actually interact? You want to meet the creators, directors, producers where they're at, so they can integrate, of course, with existing web app front ends. But we also have things like Teams, Outlook, Copilot, the things where people do their work today. All right. So let's do a little bit of a demo here. I'm going to try to do this. Let's switch over. So switching over, we're going to talk about this is what we call the agent-to-agent host orchestrator. And this is interesting. This is a solution that we use to orchestrate the multiple agents and build out workflows, not just one single agent actually working alone, but actually being able to work together. So starting up here on the left side, I'm logged in. My name is John Majors, and that allows me to bring all of the sort of Work IQ, Microsoft Work IQ, the emails, documents, things that you've worked with into this platform. And then when you're working with agents, they have that context. Just down the left-hand side, there's, of course, previous chats would be here, any files that your agents worked on, your agentic team, as we like to call it. Down the middle is just the familiar chat interface. You can start to ask your agents to sort of kick off, do work for you, ask questions about previous work, etc. And then down the right is where it gets interesting. We have the host agent, which is actually going to be orchestrating the work between multiple agents. We have agents that are currently on my team, these remote agents. We'll be using 3 of those. And then if we want to add additional ones, we can come here and enter a URL to that agent and add them to our team. Or we can add our agent catalog, which allows you to search for agents by name, by description, what skills do they operate from. We'll be working with these 3 that are actually already on the team here. So that's sort of the front end. Let's go ahead and talk about workflows. Let's say we want to actually kick off a workflow. And this is our workflow designer, where you can come in and put together drag and drop agents and connect flows and have them do some work together on your behalf. Down the left-hand side are the agents, of course, that you could use. In the middle is the designer. And so what we're going to be doing is a script-to-board workflow. So this first agent down here, the script generator, he's going to go and grab a brief out of our digital asset management system sitting in Azure. It's going to create a script based on that brief. He's going to pass that script over to the scene breakdown agent. It's going to break it down into discrete scenes, fill out those scenes, and then send those scenes over to the storyboard agent, and it's going to produce a storyboard based on those scenes. So let's go ahead. I'm going to paste. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Okay, generate. So simple prompt here for the agents, or say, hey, generate a script based on this brief, B92260. That's the identity of the brief in our digital asset management system. Create storyboards, screen breakdown for initial review. So let's go ahead and kick that off. And what you're going to see, hopefully, what you're going to see on the left-hand side here is the orchestrator is going off and checking if it's online and saying, hey, let's prepare for this workflow. This is what we want to do. Over here, our script generator went and grabbed the brief, starts filling out the script based on different characters and giving more depth to it. The scene breakdown agent starts to break down those scenes, saying, okay, based on the script, there's a little sluggishness. Let's speed it up here. Here's scene 1. This is what we want to do. Works there, and over and on the script. The storyboard. It's building out a storyboard that's sort of that meets the ontology. We see a little bit of that of the storyboard being built there. We've got 3 green check marks. It means it's all done. If you look at our workflow, you can see a little bit of the actions that were complete. The script writing agent finalized the script, produced a storyboard, and even next steps, it says, hey, maybe you want to expand this a little bit more, go in more depth. Also, you might want to start with a stakeholder review, et cetera. And then down at the bottom, we actually see, since this was a test, we can actually see, oh, the agent used this many tokens, the host used this many tokens, here's your total tokens, and here's the actual cost of that. So for about a dime, we got a couple of agents breaking down a scene and giving us a storyboard, which is not bad for 10 cents for a dime. So, and if we jump back, I'll try to scroll here. If we jump back, then we have you can see the script generator agent. You can get back to the specific story script they wrote. You can get back to the scenes as they were broken down. You can see the full storyboard here, the JSON that was created that you would store back into your digital asset management system, and then a summary, overall summary of what happened, and finally the actual storyboard that was created. You can come back and you can refine that if you want to start working on that and say, okay, agents, I don't really like this story. Give me a little change here. It shows up in your chat history, and then all the images you could build. So this is really multiple agents working on your behalf. You can see them working together back and forth and actually producing real assets for you to move forward and get ready for a review. All right. So let's jump back to the slides. And let's switch gears just a little bit. We are an engineering team, so when we think about, hey, how are AI agents changing the way that media tools are developed and move and accelerate the process, we also think about how AI agents are actually changing the way we build software for media companies. So there's a few lessons that we've learned. So we've developed what we call the hypervelocity engineering. And the idea here is, how do we change our structure and our process so that we can iterate rapidly with our clients and our customers to develop and iterate quickly and build what they need. So what we've done is we started with tight multidisciplinary teams with deep expertise. So we don't really have teams that are only engineers, only data scientists, only TPMs. We have multidisciplinary teams. They're deep expertise and they work together. They have everything they need to make quick decisions. They don't need to wait on me as a GM or as a manager to make decisions. They can go and work with the customer and be efficient. We use design thinking methods so that to create business value. We focus on business value, not on features. We work with the customer to really refine what they want to deliver and what the problem they want to solve and how that layers up to their business value. And we spend a lot of time on that with several sessions with our customers. We also use what we call proven mission critical production start points. We call them accelerators, everything from infrastructure delivery to accelerators like you saw there that with the host orchestrator. There's multiple things that we look at to make sure that we are getting a head start. We never want to write something twice. If we do, we're not moving as fast as we can. And then we use AI agents through our whole life cycle, from ideation all the way to delivery. Just like when we talked about pre-production, the same AI agents that we use there, we use AI assistant software development. If you're not, you're probably not moving fast enough. But you must do it responsibly. So our journey to hypervelocity engineering, so if you look back at around 2017 till 2023, we were really traditional AI, 2-week sprints, 10-person teams, delivery in months. If you're still doing that, you're probably moving too slow. You need to go ahead and let go of Agile. I loved it. It was a great run. It's time to let it go. You can be iterating with your customer in multiple times a day and not waiting on backlog breakdown and things like that. So we're moving past that, and that's a process for us as well. I won't say we do it 100%, but it is something we're moving forward to. And then the catalyst really came around 2025 when we started to see models that were really able to produce quality code that was reliable and not just, I would say maybe a little bit toy, easily broken, but now we can really produce great code that is reliable and safe. And now today we have HV in action, just like I've talked about. And the results are really going well. We're seeing about 2 to 3x in our velocity increase, and also, as Satya said, we've seen about 30% of the code written at Microsoft is written by AI. Just a few things around, lessons that we've learned. We talked about accelerators. If you're writing the same thing twice, or at least letting your AI write the same thing twice, you're probably moving too slow. Infrastructure is code. If you are not, if you are deploying anything by hand and not by code, you're moving too slow, and your process is most likely fragile. So we always, all of our infrastructure is IAC, instant delivery. We work closely with our customers to make sure that we get their data as quickly as possible, and we can work with that hypothesis-driven process with their data. If you don't have their data, what's going to happen is you're going to release something, your model's going to drift, and you're not going to see the same results with that fake data or synthetic data that you would with data that is actually produced by their customers. So get their data as quickly as possible, train your models against that data, or you're going to see drift. And then finally, AI-assisted delivery across every phase is what we focus on. And I think that's it for me, except the call for action. We have HVE Core, is one of our resources, and this is a collection of, I think, 46 agents that will help you implement HVE Core, will help you develop code with AI agents safely, responsibly, quickly. So I really urge folks to take a look at that. It's a great asset. It's open source. You can grab it and start using it in your projects today. We have your build your own agent over at our booth right there. if you're already here, go ahead and build your own agent. It's a lot of fun. Get it to really get some of that experience under your belt. It only takes about 10, 15 minutes, I think, so not a lot of time. And then if you are a Microsoft customer and you have a like an account team or a contact, then reach out and we can see if we can build with you through an FDE motion that we do. And I think that's all for me. Any questions? Okay, no? Yes, it is awesome. That is a great question. All right, thank you.